Hey everyone, in this video we'll be looking at how to implement authentication in your NextJS 13 application using Clerk. So what is Clerk? So I just start my screen sharing. Okay, so let's look at what Clerk is. Now Clerk is an authentication alternative to something like NextAuth, but you don't have to worry about posting and managing everything yourself. Clerk comes as a whole user management built in, and you just need to plug it into your application. So it says Clerk is more than a sign-in box. It integrates complete user management into your application. Now this is available for Next.js, reactjs. It is available for Expo, and it's available for Gatsby, Remix, and you can just plug it in and it will start working. So it is very much customizable as well. Um, so without any further ado, let's just start off. So I'll open the documentation and let's go to the new docs, the beta docs for Clerk. I'll start a new Next.js project. I'll use the npm. You can use npm or yarn, whichever one you prefer to use. I'll zoom this in. That's a little too much, I guess. Is that visible? Should be fine. Let's click enter. I'll use clerk auth. I'll use TypeScript. You can use JavaScript if you want. That's completely fine. I'll use ESLint. They added tailwind. Okay. You can use tail. I mean, I won't be having anything specific to tailwind, but I'll click enter. I won't be using the SRC directory. It's not really needed. There's just one change in a particular place, which I'll tell you when using that. And import alias is fine. It will install it. So uh, till the time this happens, let's talk about the authentication frameworks which I prefer. Now, usually I do prefer using Nextauth, but lately I've started using Clerk because, Nextdoor does still have a little bit of a setup to it, and you need to worry about how to manage the users inside your application. But Clerk provides that for you itself. So they will basically manage all your users and then work with that. And you can work with their database itself, and you don't need to worry about storing them inside your database. Well, if you do want to do that, you can do that as well, as well, I'll show that later. So I'll open Clerk auth. Hope that's visible. So I will be using NeoVim. You can use Visual Studio Code. I'll just open app/layout.tsx. So let's open the documentation and go to Next.js app router, that is Next.js 13, and get started. First of all, we do need to install this. So you can go to pnpm if you're using yarn, or npm, use that. And let's install this over here. Okay, that didn't. Let's do pnpm add or pnpm I clerk Next.js. That shouldn't take too long, and that will just take a few seconds. So till that time, what you want to do is sign up inside Clerk. I'll use GitHub sign up. Hope that's not visible. Yeah. And over here, just if you're doing it for the first time, it will have a screen over here, which will just open this directly. So to start off with, there are multiple OAuths which you can use. You can use phone number authentication, which will be OTP based. You can use username authentication, which is similar to username password, or you can use email address password, whichever one you want. But I won't be using email address authentication. I use only Google authentication, and maybe let's add, say, GitHub authentication. Now, traditionally, when you will be using something like Nextdoor, you need to go to, say, Google. If you're using Google, you need to go to Google, what's that, console.cloud.google.com and set up your API keys for that. But if you're using testing the application, you don't want to keep doing that every single time. So what Clerk does is it has these API keys built in, and you just need to go and, well, when using it in production, you need to change those API keys only then. So I don't need to do anything for now. Just click on create application. No, so let's name the application Clerk authentication using Next.js 13. Create application, and what you want to do first of all, just hover over this, go over here and click on copy. All right, and go back. Open your .env or .env.local. I'll use .env and paste that in. So you have this next public Clerk publishable key and Clerk secret key. All right. Now this one is for the front end because next public, and this you can use wherever you want. So let's go back over here and look at this. So first of all, what you want to do is wrap your app inside the Clerk provider. So all you need to do is wrap this body inside the Clerk provider, which is given to you by Clerk Next.js. Click on this and then wrap that body inside this. All right. Now, since I had, if you had already run the app once, you will need to restart the server. But since I didn't do that before, I've started now. All right. Once that is done, let me actually kill whatever is on 3000 and restart this so that I run this on 3000. You can run it on whatever port is working for you. I'll just open localhost 3000 inside here. Might take a few seconds. Got some error. Okay, I made this mistake before as well. But okay, so this at clerk slash next.js, the export clerk provider from this works only for the next.js client components. So to make this work with the server components, you need to get this from at clerk slash next.js slash app dash beta. Once you do that and check this out now, this should be fine. Okay, this is pretty zoomed in for me. But yeah, this is what you will be seeing first of all. Okay, so now let's look at what happens over here. So you can now build your sign up. There are two ways to do this. Clerk has their own sign up and sign in forms, which you can use directly. If you look at the dashboard and go to paths, they have their own self-hosted sign up and sign in forms. You can use that. How you will do that is, let me go to app slash page.tsx. Let's remove everything inside this, and I'll just and give a bit full edge screen, remove that, item center, justify center. Well, this is not really necessary for the application. I'm just showing it so that it's a little bit presentable. Okay, so what you need to do here is, so if you look at the documentation, actually, you know what? Yeah. So let's import the sign in button, which is provided by Clerk slash Next.js. But look at what happens here, alright? So if I go over here and refresh, I will get an error over here. Again, it's the create context error. Again, the thing is that this is only available for the client components. So what we can do is have a components folder inside sign in btn.tsx. Look at the bottom of my screen, all right? And let's export const sign in btn. sorry, and let's return the sign in button. And since this only works for client components, you can just add a use client directive at the top of this. Now what you need to do is get the sign btn, which is our component, which works inside a client component, and now refresh, and this should show the right one. And if you look at this now, if you click on sign in now, it will go to this login URL over here, and you can log in over here. Now, if I click on this, this will work, but I don't want to do this. Say I want to have my own login page. So we can do that as well. So what we need to do then is add a sign dash in slash page.tsx or whatever URL you want your sign in to be on. Let's export default sign in page, export default function sign in page, and return sign in provided by Clerk NextJS. Now look at what happens over here. Okay, so let's also add a sign out URL before that. Page.tsx. Let's copy paste this thing from here over here. Let's change into out. Okay, sign out is not available over here. Okay, sorry, not sign out. I meant sign up. Sorry, that's my bad. I meant sign up. You can change out to up. Sign up is register and sign in is login, if you aren't aware. So now what will happen is, if you click on sign in now, it will still go to the previous URL. So what you want to do here is go to your dashboard and change the sign up URL to /sign up. And you can change the redirect, say to /dashboard if you have that, else it will go to /. All right, change this to /sign in. And change this to /dashboard. Okay, I made a typo. Go to apply change. All right. Now, if you go and refresh this page, you don't even need to refresh, I think, but let's just do it. Click on sign in, and it goes to /sign in. Again, I got an issue because this one again needs to be exported from /app beta and /app beta. All right, let's refresh this now. Since okay, so this, it looks very similar. So what I want to do is I want to send to this. Now, because I'm using my own page for this, I can essentially style the whole page. That is the the advantage of using your own page over the one provided by Clerk. But if you want to use that, go ahead. So I'll just take this and put this in here. Move that. Let's wrap this inside a div with the W full edge screen. I'm using Emmet over here, so you can use that if you want, and paste that in. This should be centered now. It is. So I'll talk about how to customize this card later, but now, for now, I'll click on sign up, and it will go to /sign up because we had said that sign up set that the sign up URL is /sign up. And let's copy this and paste this over here as well. And let's change this to sign up. Let's remove that and enter. And it will be centered here as well. So now I will continue with GitHub. You can continue with Google, whichever one you want. I will click on continue with GitHub, and it goes to /dashboard. Again, /dashboard does not exist, right? Now we can get it to exist, but you know what? I'll just go to / and show you over there how it works. Now this still shows sign in, Now we would technically want this to show sign out now, right? So now what you can do is you can get the user object from here. So let's just look at this. Before that, let's talk about this. You need to add a middleware with Clerk middleware so that all the the section and the JWT token and the cookies should be available for the app to use. So we add this in the middleware.ts. This is where the change for the src directory comes in. If you're using the src directory, this middleware.ts will be inside src/middleware.ts, and if you're not, just add this inside the root of your directory. It will not be inside app, it will be in the root of your directory. Let's go there and I'll paste this in. So basically what this is doing is it is exporting this middleware, this function. So this is basically a next middleware handler. So we pass in request and we just say for all the cases at this point, just pass it through and just pass it with the clerk properties, whichever they are. Now, we don't want this middleware to run on static files in public folders, so we add a regex over here. So it just checks for the static folder, then underscore next folder, favicon.ico, the public folder, and well, this looks like everything with a dot before it. All right. Is it the dot? I think so. I'm not very good at regexes, but yeah. So for now, this will work. We'll talk about how to protect your pages in a bit. But now, all you need to do is read session and user data. Now, since this is in beta, there are a lot of well changes because a lot of their functions like use auth and use user were only meant for the client side. Now, you need to be a little careful on what you're doing over here because if you're using it on the server side, you need to use the current user and the auth functions. If you're using it on the client side, you need to use the use auth and the use user functions. And well, there are a few differences between them. So now what we need to do is, let's just look at this for a second. Okay, this is fine. Okay, now what we want to do is if there a user exists, then we want to show the user, well, a detail of the user, or we want and a sign out button maybe, or just well the user, right? Well, a sign in button, sorry, my bad. So what we can do is use the current user function which is provided by them, and this returns a promise of the user. So we can make this an asynchronous function and get the user over here. The user will be of a type of user which is provided by that. That is actually wrong. Let's change this to type, and this is provided by @clerk/nextjs/API. This will be either user or null, and we can await current user which is provided by clerk nextjs/app beta, and let's close that. Now if we hover over this, it shows that it is of a type of user. What is a user? It has all these properties in it: ID, password enabled, TOTP enabled, all this stuff. We have profile image, everything is taken by Clerk. Everything is managed by Clerk, right? So also, let's actually I should show you this. Just go into users over here. We will see that the user which had logged in is over here as well. It is very handy because you don't need to manage the users yourself. Now we have this user over here. We can say if user exists, let's actually make this and not. So this makes this a truthy value. So yeah, it's just that user by itself isn't a boolean. We're just doing exclamation to make it a truthy value if the user exists or not, right? So if the user exists, we want to show something, else we want to show the sign in BTN. Now, there's another handy little component which next Clerk provides. So if you look at components and look at user management, was it here or was it inside authenticate? Yeah, user profile or user button. We can use either. We can use user profile over here just to show. Click on user profile, just export it from here. And remember that it comes from app beta. And let's do that. And now let's see what happens. Let's wait for it to refresh. It has the whole user data over here. It has the connected accounts, it has security, you can manage passwords, you have the active devices, it has the security tab, which it doesn't do anything, but it's mainly for the set password. It has this whole thing built into this, and you can manage your avatars and whatnot over here. Now, obviously, I don't think I can log out from here. So let's have a logout button as well. Now the logout button is a little weird in here. They don't have a sign out button inside the documentation, but I did try to just tinker around with it, and I found a sign out button. I messed up somehow. 1 second. Sign out button. Again, this works only inside the client components. So what we want to do is go to components and add a sign out btn.tsx. Export default. Let's go const because I use const for sign in as well. Let's return that and let's import this from Clerk and again use the use client directive at the top. Alright. Now let's get the sign out btn over here and check this out. Oh, it's over here. Just click on sign out now, and well, it doesn't refresh the whole page now because it's not really meant for your server. So you would preferably not want to do that. So another way to do that would be just use the user button which is provided by them. So this is a little weird inside Clerk because it's not really polished for NextJS 13, but you can work with this instead of that sign out button. So just click on this now and click on sign out, and this works. Let's actually look at where this is going. All right, maybe we can find out which URL this works on. Okay, this is just using a on-click handler, I think. Yeah. Using this action sign out. Yeah, so the logout over here will still work. So what you could rather do is just use this user button and let it manage it. If you can click on manage account, it shows the same thing just shown over here. So all this is managed by Clerk. You don't need to set anything up for the manage user, and this will work just out of the box. All right. And sign in is there. Now that took very, very little time to set up. I was talking all the way along, so it took around 25 minutes. So it basically will take you only about, well, 10 to 15 minutes to set up, even if you're very new to using it. One thing which we can use over here is also API routes. You can use the route handlers now, which is available inside the app directory instead of this. So you can do the same thing which is provided over here in there. Will be fine. All right. So that was it for that. One thing which I can add if you want is how to customize this card, right? So for that, inside this, let's go inside sign in, and this uses has an object called appearance, which takes in an object, a prop called appearance, which takes in an object. Say we want to give this a dark theme. Let's just go theme, and let's set that to dark, which well comes from Clerk themes. So you need to add this Clerk slash themes. All right, let's wait for a few seconds. Once that is done, let's go and import this over here. Let's go import dark from add Clerk slash themes. And what's this again? Theme. Okay, it is base theme, and that is dark. And if I just wait for a second, it turns dark. You can also change everything over here. So it is not available inside the beta docs, but if you go to the old docs and go to component customization and look at appearance prop, it is all available over here. So you can, well, add a logo, for example. Let's add a logo just to show you how this works. I'll take this logo from here, copy image address. This is available inside the layout object, and that is logo image URL. Let's pass that there, and let's look at this. It has the logo now. Amazing. You can change how the social buttons look. You can make it look, well, either like this or like this. Either way you want. You can change the variables. So you can change the primary color over here. So say I want my green, which is available over here, right? But I don't remember the hex for this, and I don't have the extension on this profile for the color picker. But let's just change the color and show. Let's go variables. What's that, color primary? Yep. Let's change this to say FFF, just to show FFS is white, so it turns white. So you can experiment with this. Change the color F6666. That's a lightish pink, if I'm not wrong. That works. Notice how this changes as well. So you can tinker around with this. You can also add tailwind CSS to the components. Well, change the button, for example. You can do all this. And Clerk is very, very customizable and very, very handy to use. And I would definitely will be using it inside more of my projects. One thing which you would probably want to take a look at is the pricing. It has a very generous free tier. I'll just go to clerk/dev/pricing. It has a very generous free tier. It has 5,000 monthly active users, which you probably wouldn't be hitting for a while. If maybe it's a personal project, you probably won't be hitting it. If you are a startup, you won't be hitting it for a while. Then after that, it has unlimited users, active users. Um, well, you might want to take a look at this, but just if you're just starting off with it, well and good. And one more advantage of this is mobile authentication, which Nextauth doesn't really have that well at the moment. They have really good support for that as well. It has Expo, everything set up. So that was it for this video. For more videos, please subscribe to my channel and make sure to like, share, and share this video. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.